Okay, everybody, we will just give it one more minute. We still have people arriving. Just whilst we're waiting, I'm just going to do one last thing. Whilst we're waiting, just a very short introduction. My name is Ian Pemberton. I'm Managing Director of Human Focus, and today I will be joined by two of my colleagues, Rania Vrato, who is head of our online help and support systems, who will be giving us a little bit of an exploration of the human focus training records management system. And I'm also joined by Sarah Hill, and Sarah is a key member of our client support staff and liaises closely with our clients to give them help and support. So they're both here today as partly for those of you who are human focused clients and are currently using the system. It's to introduce these two colleagues to let you know that they're here, and they are definitely here to assist you. So everything you're going to see and hear today, Rania and Sarah, after this event, are on hand to provide further help and support. Okay, so let's kick today's webinar off. Please feel free to use the chat box for questions, and we will be taking any questions that anybody has as we go through, and particularly at the end. So the format today is I'm going to provide a brief introduction to this whole area of training records management. What is the problem? What, in our experience, in terms of the travels that I've had over the last 20 odd years working in this space, what are the challenges that our clients face, and what are some of the technologies that are available to help take a lot of this friction out of the process. So the reality is that for a lot of people, a lot of organizations, this is what training records management looks like. It is essentially a manual system, even though it may be using software. It's what I call digital paper. So records may be on a SharePoint somewhere, or they may be in a Word document or Excel document, but essentially the whole process requires manual maintenance and intervention. And as a result of that, a lot of organizations actually struggle big time when it comes to being able to prove that they are compliant as a minimum, and that is just the minimum. We are interested in going beyond that, as you'll see today. But as a minimum, if something does go wrong, you have to be able to prove, obviously, that certain people have received the training. And for many organizations, that's a big task because of this manual system that often breaks down and has all kinds of holes in it. Not to mention, of course, that it's very expensive. So here's the reality. Employees are coming in and they will have lots of training from lots of different sources. And these are the visible outputs from that, training certificates. And this stack of records can very quickly grow, and just managing that element on its own is a big task. Let alone making sense of this in terms of, have all of the people in our organisation, have they actually got the training they need to be competent for their job or role in our organisation? That's a step beyond this. If you haven't even got the records current and in one place, then you haven't got a chance. But even then, it's difficult to analyse it. So the kind of status quo out there that I've observed in literally hundreds of organisations, and these range from large to small, is that very often it's an Excel sheet or a form of an Excel sheet into which all of this data is manually entered. And there are literally people sitting there, click, 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 and then sending people alerts and loading things. And it's a huge amount of effort. It's time consuming. It's rarely up to date. I've observed it's prone to error. It's what's often called it's in the file or in the box syndrome. So when you actually go and something goes wrong, you go and look and the record isn't there. And that is a big problem. It's really very difficult to see what is actually going on in terms of the organisation in one place. There may be several of these sheets in larger organisations and they can be scattered all over the place. And it's very difficult to know what your compliance rate is. So that is certainly where a lot of organisations are at today. So what we're going to be looking at today then is the human focus online system for training records management. And the good news is that everything that you're going to be seeing and hearing today just comes part of the package. There's no additional cost to this records management system. A very powerful administration module on the back end as part of the deal. And essentially what you've got over here on the left, you've got e-learning, people taking their online training, and then we're going to be exploring this back-end management administration module, which we tend to refer to as the training matrix, but there is a lot more to it than that. But in simple terms, it begins with a matrix, trainees down one side, courses across the other, and you're tracking to see who has completed what training. Red means they failed, amber means it's about to expire, green it's passed. So as it's online training, they complete the course, it automatically generates a certificate and it automatically places that into the matrix and it manages that whole process for you, including things like sending alerts to people when they need to retake the training. And there's also, as we're going to see, all kinds of reporting, graphing capabilities. And as this is one central portal, you've got one place to go to where you can see everything that's going on within your organization at the click of a button. So this alone removes a huge amount of friction from, traditional offline manual-based systems. It literally can cut huge amounts of costs, tens of thousands, certainly for medium to larger size organizations in terms of just time spent doing this stuff. But of course, training is not necessarily, well, it isn't restricted to just online training. All right, we've had the coronavirus lockdown and online has been virtually the only viable way of doing things over recent months. But, classroom face-to-face training is still going to happen. It's still needed. And you're going to be doing this internally. You are potentially also going to be having people going externally to your organization to public events. And as we've already seen, there's also the online element. So actually, there's lots of different kinds of places where training is occurring. And as far as you're concerned, you really need to capture all of that and have it in one place. So over the years, we have worked hard with our administration module to be able to facilitate training records wherever they come from, not just training that is taken on the human focus system. So here's how it works. You've got your training matrix, administration module. When it comes to internal training, you can, if you are issuing certificates, we'll see how you can load those on. But what we recommend, a very, very simple and powerful way of using online training is the so-called blended learning approach. So we're not going to cover this today, but we have a whole module on our system called Content Builder. What Content Builder allows you to do is very rapidly get your own training content online. And that, a simple way to start is simply to put end tests only. So after a classroom course or a face-to-face session, your colleagues can log on, they can take then the end of course assessment online, and then this will automatically go into the training matrix. So you can set up your own training courses very easily, get your content online and put these into the training matrix. When it comes to external courses, there's still going to end up being a piece of paper, frankly. And you're going to have people coming in with literally stacks of these under their arm. So we're going to see there's a very simple way that you can actually get all of those records onto the human focus system. And again, to reiterate, you can build into your matrix, those courses along the top can include any external training courses that you deem are required for competency in your organization, and you can get those records into this management module very rapidly, and Rania will be providing us with a demonstration of this element. And as we've already seen, any training taken on the human focus system, those records will automatically go into the human focus system. I've just had a disaster there. Just managed to spill a glass of water all over my computer. Just bear with me 1 second whilst I wipe the water.
I didn't catch that. Could you try again?
Hopefully that hasn't done any harm. Just 1 second. Sorry about that. The dangers of having a glass of water too close to your computer. Oh, I think I've gotten away with it. Thank you, Rania. Rania's just... Okay. Let me just... Phew. That's a bit scary. Let me just go back to the slide where we were at. Okay. You still seeing my screen, Rania?
Yes, we can still see your screen, Ian.
Woo. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Let's carry on then. So yeah, we said you can get any source of training records onto the matrix. As Rania will be showing us, we're using artificial intelligence as part of this process. So when it comes to your external training records, we have what's called an inbuilt certificate loader bot. And what this artificial intelligence robot is essentially trained to do is, metaphorically, as a production line here, it is able to take training certificates, scan them, read them and go, that's trainee 1, course 3. So it's matching, it's reading what the training record is, it's matching that to the records on the system, and then automatically inserting those into the training matrix. So as you'll see, you can literally load up batched files with thousands of training certificates in if you wish, and it will automatically read them and load them in. There is a little bit of a manual input in terms of verification, but essentially it will do all the heavy lifting for you. So that is how metaphorically you will get external training certificates in onto the system. Moving beyond straight compliance, I mean, compliance is obviously very important, but thinking about competency frameworks, and again, there isn't time today to talk in depth about competency frameworks. Very happy to talk to anybody offline about this, and we will be doing more detailed sessions in the future on this. But a competency framework is really mapping, if you like, groups within your organizations, and these groups can be single individuals up to thousands. So you've got groups or roles, and then matched against that, you've got a series of menus of training that you've identified against those roles that you deem that's our minimum that we require that person to be able to complete, to demonstrate competency. And a key part of this competency framework is it will definitely involve your own bespoke training. Training that is delivered on the human focus system off the shelf can be an important part of the mix, but it will only be one element. But anyway, you will build this framework up, And then you will match across and say, okay, well, this group requires this menu and this group requires this menu and so on. But in reality, so you've got as a starting place, a so-called one-to-one relationship between groups and menus. But in reality, what we have learned is that within any organization, people move around, new people come in, and some of these job roles are actually best thought of as a mix of these different competencies. So in reality, this is what you need to be able to do. You need actually a one-to-many relationship. So you need to be able to say, actually, this group is going to take menu 1 as well as menu 2, and so on. And you can build a competency framework flexibly in that way. And so our administration module allows this type of many-to-many relationships with groups and menus. And this is absolutely vital moving forwards, and it's not the norm. There are many online systems that do not have this kind of flexibility, and we have learned it's very, very important. So finally, before let's get into the meat of this, and let's have a look at how this actually works in practice. Before we do, just let's have a look at one client case study. An organisation that has worked with Human Focus, or we've worked for over a decade. They are a large European facilities management company. They have approximately 40,000 active users on the Human Focus system at any one time. So this is a large organisation. They're primarily cleaners and security guards. They're a very dispersed workforce, managed by regional or project managers around 2 countries, Southern Ireland and the UK. And so you can imagine the challenge that an organisation like this has when it comes to training compliance. And so these are some quotes from their risk manager, literally this year. They feel that they have a very good accident rate, and they put this down in large part to the training that they deliver via the Human Focus system. And we can see that a lot of this training, like for cleaners, would revolve around, how to do day-to-day cleaning, and making sure that they know their job in detail and what is required of them. And this is a mix of training that has been developed specifically for their organisation, along with off-the-shelf training that Human Focus have also developed. And so these cleaners get this menu, and that is what is deemed as required for their competency. So getting into the relevance for today's session is that here is the quote that's the killer line really. Before they were using Human Focus, sometimes when a site manager was asked, where is the training record for that particular trainee or that particular training course, they were not able to find it. It would have been lost. It had been either the training hadn't been done or the training record had been lost. It's just unknown, and this had significant implications for them when it came to claims defence, because the reality is that an organisation like this does have a lot of claims, both civil from members of the public on the public liability, as well as within their own workforce. So again, the quote here is that now when a claim does come in, the records are crucial. So this is another key part of this, is having the right records to defend the claim. It's not just a tick in the box that they've taken the training. You need a record of comprehension, a record that somebody has actually understood the information, which is all stored for them. And it has helped them to significantly reduce claims. So here's just one example. One example is in a recent case, they were able to reduce a 6-figure settlement fee by around about 40%. So just on one claim, they were able to more than redeem their cost of the human focus system. And that's before we get into all of the administration time that's saved through this records management system. So just to summarize, what we're going to show you here today can significantly reduce your administration time and costs. It will enable you to build competency frameworks if that is of interest to you, and it will certainly help you to improve the quality of your claims defence system. You will have the records, they will be there, and they will be in the right structure. So that is an introduction to the problem, the challenges. It'll be interesting to hear later on how much of those challenges chime with you. And those are some of, conceptually, the solutions that are available in terms of the human focus system. What we're going to do now is I'm going to hand over to Rania. And Rania is going to, let me just end that show, give us a demonstration. Okay, here we go. Hand it over to you, Rania.
Yes, Ian, thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending. I'm going to share my screen with you as well now. So what we're going to see today, we're going to see how you can action all those different administrative tasks through the Human Focus portal and the learning management portal that is available to you. So to begin with, what we're going to see how you can start setting up your account. So here in Setup Groups, what you will see the option to create 3 levels of groups. We name them user group, site location, and department. So what you can do here, you can create a mini version of your organization, and you create a visual structure of your organization, which will help you manage your users and your training when you start using your account. So this is very helpful because it can help you reduce the time of searching within the account and trying to find where a particular user has been placed and where their records are and what kind of training is assigned to them. In order to start creating groups, what you need to do, you need to just type in the name of the group here on the right side. You can add comments on the group, and you just need to click on Insert. Here is the group that I have just added. And if you want to delete a group because it doesn't exist anymore, you simply click on Delete and delete the group. You can create user groups, site locations, and departments. Now, the site locations and departments have been created for management purposes only. But user groups are the groups that you can use to assign specific courses to your trainees, to your employees. We advise you to keep the name of user group simple and specific to a job role, because usually based on a job role, you identify the health and safety training and compliance that each user within that group needs to fulfill. So when you create that, the next step would be to start adding training to the user groups. Here in Training Control, you will be able to see a full list of the courses available to you, which will be here. And then at the top, you will be able to see all the user groups that you have created. To start adding courses, you simply need to check the boxes and click on Save Changes. You will be asked to confirm your changes, and this means that the courses have been assigned to this group.
So just to clarify there then, so Rania, that list of courses, where do they come from? what are the different courses available on down the left there?
So all these courses are the courses available to the client's account. So when you create an account, you decide the library that you wish to have access to, and these courses will appear here for you to manage.
And these, just to clarify again then, this list can include your own courses that you build via content builder. So this could include a simple end of classroom test. So you can load very quickly your test questions, and this would appear here on this list straight away, and then you could assign it to whichever groups that you wish. I talked earlier, Rania, about the one-to-many relationship. So could you demonstrate how that works? The one that, so we've got groups and
the users.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. So when you finish adding the courses, you can always filter this view to make it easier for you to manage if needed. But when you finish preparing your account, you can go to add users and start adding users. So on the add users tab, what you will see a form that you will need to fill in to start adding users. So for example, if I put in a person identifier, which is the user's username, this needs to be unique. And let's say I'm going to try to add myself. An email address is optional, but if an email address is not added, then you won't be able to use the email-based features of Human Focus. I will explain in more detail what these email-based features are. The one-to-many rule applies to user groups. So let's say that I have this employee who is office-based, but is also part of the health and safety team. So I can add them to the course group of office-based and then the health and safety team.
Right, thank you.
I need to specify the site location that this person belongs to and the department. And by clicking submit, I'm adding the users. Okay. Do you have any questions this far? Because I can see some pop-ups, but I can't hear anything.
You carry on, Rania, and I'll monitor the chat box, okay?
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Ian. So we understand that this is very time consuming if you're up to add 100 employees one by one. So we offer you the option to bulk upload users. The bulk upload option is very simple. You just need to fill in the 3-step instructions. First is to download the Excel template. So if I open the template, you can see that it's a simple form to populate with the details of your employees. Again, the email address and the phone number is optional. But if you don't add an email address, you won't be able to use the email-based features. When you fill in all those details, you just need to save this file on your desktop. But
We're not seeing your Excel sheet at the moment, Rania.
Okay, I'm so sorry for this.
It's all right.
I think it is because I shared a specific page. Let me just change that.
You share your desktop.
Yes. So can you see it now?
Yes, we can. Yes, thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So when you fill in this spreadsheet, you need to pay attention to the user status column, which is the last column. So this means that here you can specify if the user is new or if you need to archive an already registered user. This means that you can do in bulk both adding new users and archiving old users when they leave your organization. Okay, let me start my regular screen again. So can you see the Human Focus screen again?
Yes, we can, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So when you finish with the template, you just need to upload the file and click on upload to add the users in bulk. Nice and simple, within minutes you can populate your account. So when you populate your account, you will be able to review your registered users in Training Editor. So Training Editor gives you a list of all the registered people in your account, and it helps you manage them. So what you can do here you can come at any time to search for a user. Let's search for myself that I've added earlier. And when you find this user, you have the option to edit their training card and update any records that you need to change. For example, I need to update the user groups of the user because they have progressed to another role as well, or they have moved to a different site location. And by clicking on update, I'm just saving the changes that I have made. In this page, you can also archive single users one by one at a time. So if I select a user and click on archive, I have moved them to the archived users that can be found here. So when we say archive, you're not deleting a user. What you're doing is you're deactivating their account. So this means that when someone leaves your organization, you can deactivate their account by archiving the user, but you will still have access to all of their training records. When an archived user tries to access their e-learning account, they won't be able to access your training. They won't be able to see anything, but you still have access to their records. Okay. So moving on to reporting dashboard. This is where you can finally start checking the training records on your account and the usage of the courses, the compliance of its department, anything that you need to do when you're managing your training records. They're all available in this one page across 4 different tabs of different types of reports that you can run. So the user training results report type is a report type based on users. You will be able to see a list of your users, and when you hover over a user and click on show progress, you can quickly check their compliance. So as we can see, this user is missing 2 courses. To view more details about his training records, you just need to click on the user and you will receive the folder of this user. In this folder, you can see all the courses that have been assigned to this user, the system training, which is all the courses available through the human focus system, the uploaded training, which is the training that you have uploaded on the system, and all the completed records. You can download a training card for the user, their profile picture if they have uploaded one. You can download your report on Excel or bulk download the certificates. So next, if you want to review a training record in more detail, by clicking on a course, you have more options. Here, you can see details on when the course has been completed and when it will be expiring. But if you click View Responses, you will be able to view questions and answers. This report has been proven very useful in different claims cases because there are details on the answers that have been given from the trainee to this specific subject. Next is print certificate, that you can download a certificate for this particular training with the details of when it was completed and when it is expiring, and a quick training history overview. You also have the option of a training view if you wish to check the usage of a specific course. So I'm going to quickly filter by a course that I know it has been completed. to show you some accurate records. So if I click on the course, I can see all the trainees that should have completed the course, and I can see details of their status on the course. So for any outstanding training, we give you here the option to send an email reminder to this user to nudge them to complete their training. This is a sample of the email that they will receive, and by clicking on send email, you're sending an email through the system. There is also an option to automate all those emails, so you won't have to check every user one by one, and I will talk to you about how you can do that later. So if I close this report and go back to user group, what we can see here, we can see the filters have been remained. So if I reset that and go back to my initial report, I can export that with different options. I have the summary, which is a quick overview of the report, the all user group data, a report of all user group data, and then the all completed data, which will be a bulk download of all completed training in the account. The next tab is training history, which also has some filters available as well. Training history will give you details of the history access of its trainee to its course. If this is too complicated, if I click on a trainee, I can see all the courses that this particular trainee should have completed. And if I select a course, I can see the activity on the course. In this case, I can see that John Smith had 3 attempts on this particular course until they can successfully pass the course. This has also been proven very useful in cases of claims because you have detailed history of day and time stamp of when the course has been completed and the outcome of the course. You can also export this report to an Excel or sort your list by column. So the next tab is Training Matrix. Training Matrix, it's a view of what is going on your account overall. There is a dashboard of total filters at the top that they're all clickable to help you quickly filter by course status. You have some total filters at the top that you can use to filter your view. And all these buttons are clickable. So if I click on past, I will get a matrix report of only the past courses in the account, similar with in progress and to do, etc. So let's go back to the total for a quick overview. So at the bottom, you will also see those data buttons. So the number on the button is the number of users within the combination of department, site location, and user group. And if I click on this, I will get a quick overview of the statistics of this group. And by clicking the box again, I get the list of the users that are assigned to the combination of the groups and their training statuses. This is a system training view, but if I move to uploaded training, I will be able to see the uploaded training records report. As Ian mentioned, uploaded training is either your internal training or training completed off-site that you have uploaded on the system so you can manage the results and the validity of the courses. You can export this report or filter your view. This is the export option, and the filter view is available in all of the different report options. You can also export the matrix report in 3 different types. System training summary, which is a simple data summary. All user group data, which will be an all user group courses data. And all complete data, which will be a bulk download of all completed data on the account. The last and newest addition to our report is the statistics. So the statistics will provide you of a usage report on your account. You can filter this report by duration, and you can also filter by site location, department, and user group. So if I click by site location, I can see the statistics of usage for this particular site location. You have different type of statistics available, so you can compare what's going on your account. Now, these filters at the top, the by site location, by department, and by user group, and by compliance, with these filters, you can create comparison statistics. So for example, if I select Edinburgh and London and click on apply, I can compare the usage statistics between those 2 departments. The training overview is an overview statistics based on courses. And if I click on select training and select training again, I can specify which courses I'm interested in seeing a report for. So let's select the these 3 courses and see what are the results that I will receive. Also, if you go to by compliance, you will be able to quickly check the compliance of each user group. By select a user group, you're choosing which group you wish to review. In this case, I have selected the management team, and I can see that in this group, I have 3 users. 2 of them are compliant, which is the 66% of the account, and 1 of them is non-compliant. So if I wish to know which trainee is not compliant, I can go back to the user view and filter by the management team user group. And by clicking on show progress, I can see which trainee is not compliant. And then I can chase that trainee to complete his compliance. Okay. And this is how quick and efficiently you can manage your training records, just all from one platform with quick and easy filters to navigate yourself within your records. So if I go back to the home page, before we move on to the bulk certificate verification, is there any questions that we need to cover, Ian? Ian, I can't hear you. Ian, I think you're muted.
Sorry, I was on mute. There's been some good questions. I'll review them at the end. We've been answering them as you've been going along, so please carry on.
Okay, thank you. So as Ian mentioned in his presentation, there is an option for you to upload external or internal records onto the system, so you can manage them from reporting dashboard as well. To do this, you need the bulk certificate verification. So if I click on the bulk certificate verification, here what you can see, you can see a list of courses that I have already tried to upload, but I haven't verified yet. But when you first access the bulk certificate verification, it will be a blank page. And if you go to upload certificates, you have an three options to upload certificates with. As long as the certificate is converted to a PDF format, you can upload as many as you want. If I go back to my folders, you won't be able to see it, will you? Let me just share this screen. So now you should be able to see my folder. So these are some certificates that we have created for the sake of this demonstration. As you can see, I have a list of single certificates for each user. If I click on batch 2, can you see the PDF file?
We can see the files. We haven't. We can't see the. There you go. It's open now. Yep, thank you.
So what I have done here, I have combined different certificates in one PDF file. So if I want, I can upload a single file with hundreds of certificates onto the system. And what the system will do, it will process them overnight, and it will give me the verification option, which should be here. Okay. So the system will process the certificates that I will upload overnight, and it will give me this list. So what the system is doing is asking me to verify if it has recognized the certificate data correctly and linked them to the users correctly. So for this line, for example, we have uploaded a CITB certificate for Maria Rodriguez. Oops, sorry. And I can see that it looks that it is the correct certificate. So what I will do, I will just go here and click on verify. The system will ask me if I want to do this for all the certificates that have been recognized for Maria Rodriguez. But I will not check this box just yet because I want to make sure that all the certificates are correct. But by clicking yes, I am adding the CITB certificate to Maria Rodriguez training records. So if I go back to my main account and back to reporting dashboard, let me reset my filters and search for Maria. So if I select Maria, it takes some time to load, and go to the uploaded records. This is the certificate that I have just uploaded. It is expired, it is marked in amber, as you can see. And if I go to print certificate, I will be able to see the certificate that I have uploaded.
So if I could just jump in very briefly there, Anya. So what the human certificate loader bot has is it's been trained, the algorithm has been trained to recognize a large population of common certificates, CSCS cards, IOSH, etc., etc. So it knows what these different courses are. It also has within it inbuilt, it knows the duration, the shelf life of any of these courses. So if any of these courses have, 3, 5, whatever year expiry dates, it will know that. It will see the dates. It will go, that's an SVMS, and it's over 3 years. It's now out of date, and it will input all of that data for you automatically. And just to re-emphasize, if you then, as part of your matrix, you can build these external courses into the matrix or the menu of courses that you want people to be able to take, and then it will, all that tracking and monitoring of the compliance rates, it will all be there for you in one place. Mm-hmm. Sorry about that, Rania.
No, that's okay. Thank you for this, Ian. So if I go back, you can see that there are some records with red boxes. This means that there's some details missing. So for example, on this line, it doesn't have a name or a completion date or even an expiry date. So if I click on the icon of the certificate and zoom in by hovering over, I can see that the reason that the system cannot link this certificate to a trainee is because of how the name is written on the certificate. So we can see that it is for Jay Johnson. So if we go to our list, we can see that it is for James Johnson. Or it could be, no, it's James Johnson, sorry. So if I can update the record, and if I hover over the certificate again and scroll down, I can't see a date on this particular example. So I can leave it open, update the record, which means the name has been updated. And by clicking on verify, I can also add this to the user's records. And this is how you can review and verify uploaded trainee. The system will do the manual job. The system will read the certificates, create the record for you, but you will need to verify the records. You can also discard any records that have been uploaded by accident or are inaccurate. And this is how the bulk certificate verification tool works. So if I close this and go back to homepage, the last thing that I would like to mention, and then we can answer to any questions you might have, is the email alerts. It has been mentioned earlier as well that you can set the system to generate automated email alerts for you. So this is a menu of 13 pre-developed email alerts that you can turn on and off as you please based on the notifications that you wish to generate or receive. So if you click on edit, you can turn an alert on and off, and you can also specify the users that you wish to receive the alert. So let's say that I want this alert to go just to the manager and update the alert. Also, by selecting an alert, if you scroll down, you will be able to see the email alert template by clicking the edit email alert template. So this will give you a preview of the message that will be sent to your users. You can edit this template to add a personal message. So your employees won't think that this is a spam. Or if you want to add specific instructions to the message, but you cannot change the red sections as these are details that will be pulled from the system. You can reset to default at any time. And if I go to a different email alert, which I know has some records, the other option is to check the email log. So if you're doubting if an alert has been generated or not, you can check the log of the last 3 months of the email alerts that have been generated from the system for your users. And by selecting an alert, if you scroll down all the way to the bottom, you will see in details what was the alert, what was the message that got generated. Okay. So this is it from me. I think I covered everything for now, but are there any questions?
Yeah, there have been some good questions which I'll just review now and we can answer to the group. So in reverse order, thank you for flagging that one up for me, Sarah. Paul McKenna has asked, what is the cost of this? And there have been several other people who've sort of asked, if we're a smaller organisation, what does all this cost? It looks great maybe for a big organisation, but this looks expensive. So let me reiterate that this comes as part of the system. So if you buy any e-learning from Human Focus, even a small number of courses, if you're a small organisation, then everything you've seen here today comes as part of that package. There is no additional cost. It is part of the package. So just to make the point about smaller organisations, then we have thousands of small organisation clients. Some of them are, excuse me, literally 2 or 3 person businesses who still find this administration helpful. Somebody will still have to get certificates in and remember to send people alerts and etc. etc. So there's no additional cost, comes part of the system, and it's just as good for small organisations. In a sense, better, because in my experience, small organisations are pushed for time, and so anything that can save that time is going to be very helpful. So for repeating courses, DSE every 3 years, can you set to automatic alert for completion? That's beyond my knowledge. Sarah and Rania, that's in your court. What's the answer to that one?
Could you please repeat that again, Ian? Sorry.
The question is from Leslie. She's asking, sorry, it's from Charles. It's saying for repeating courses, ones that have to be taken every, say, 3 years. So Yucata asbestos is another one, which is a 12-month annual repeat. Can you set that to automatic alert for completion?
So the system does recognize when a course is expired, and it generates the alert for a refresher.
Yeah.
If it is a standard course provided, let's say the Yucata is a good example, then the system is set up to recognize that Yucata expires every 12 months. So in a year's time, the users will receive a message to tell them that their course is coming up to an expiry and they need to refresh that.
Okay.
If it is an internal record, an internal training that the organization have uploaded to Human Focus, then they have the option to specify the validity of the course. They have the option to specify if they need this to be refreshed every 6 months, 12 months, a year, whenever they want.
So the short answer is yes. The system, you could set it and it will recognize when courses are expired and then will automatically require that to be retaken. Leslie is asking a question about the bulk upload certificate. She's asking if you upload a certificate that is already on the system, will it flag that up or just store a duplicate of that certificate?
So I believe that it hasn't been developed to be as sophisticated as to this level. I believe it will upload a duplicate. This is why you have to verify its certificate.
Yep.
But I can put that question to our development team and come with a more accurate answer later.
I must admit, I don't know the answer to that question either. So we will. It's a good question, Leslie, and we will get back to you on that. It's a good point. Paul is asking, what if an employee changes their name through marriage, for example? How do you accommodate that?
They need to provide us with proof that it is who they have actually changed their name, and we can change their name on the system, and moving forward, any new completed training will be under the new name of the user. But I believe that we don't change the certificate of the old training, because at the time that the training was completed, the user had their old name.
Okay.
Yes, that's correct. That is correct, yeah.
Great.
So,
there is a question here from Letitia. I believe that, I hope I've pronounced your name there correctly, Letitia. If you buy a course and the course is completed, we may not need that course for a few months. So what would happen to the dashboard? Or is it simply a monthly charge to access the course or any one-off purchases? So I think the question is relating around how you purchase and then use this management dashboard. So maybe I could answer that for you. There are different models of which you can purchase courses. That you can purchase them as an annual license, and then you basically get unlimited usage, or you can purchase on a pay-as-you-go credit module method. It doesn't matter. Regardless of how you purchase courses, this this management system remains there for you and will track and monitor all activity on your account and will give you the current view of what's happening. And no data is lost. Everything that is created on this system is your data. It remains your data, and you can always access it. Even if you stop purchasing courses, you have the option to download your data at any point. It's your data, and nothing is lost. So I hope that answers your question. Here's a question from Paul. Can you change the system course dates to expire earlier, i.e. somebody moves their workspace and needs to retake their DSE assessment? Sarah or Rania? That's beyond my knowledge.
Sarah, do you want to take this?
Sorry, Ian, would you remind, which question are we looking at? I'm looking at so many at the moment.
It's from Paul Atkinson, and the question is, can you change the system course dates to expire earlier? For example, if someone moves their workspace and needs to retake a DSE assessment, how do we accommodate that kind of scenario?
If somebody needs to retake their DSE assessment, I would probably suggest that they retake it, even if it probably overlaps one another, if that makes sense. I don't believe it is possible to change the expiry dates, but yes, I'm sure, Paul, if that was something in particular, we could have a discussion about it with our development team.
Please contact Sarah and she will liaise with you on that one. Rosie is asking, can you change the name of a user group without having to delete it or recreating it? So if you want to keep the user group but just change the label, can you do that?
We can do that for the client, but at the moment this option is not available because it messes up the account.
Yeah.
But we can do that for you on the back end, so you can send us a request and we can change the name for you.
Okay, again, Rosie, if you want to get in touch with Sarah, she should be able to facilitate
that. We like it in writing because it means we get the spelling and everything as you want it.
Yeah.
That's why.
Good point. Thank you, Sarah.
No
Bruce was just asking about, he had 2 colleagues who could not attend today, and can we get access to the recording? Yes, Rania will be sending out a follow-up email from this webinar, and it will include a link to the video recording of today's session.
We also have one more question. I saw it earlier. Bear with me. Here we go. Martin has asked, can you upload a training record if you don't have a certificate for it? If it is one record, yes, the answer is yes, you can. Rania, can you do that through the bulk upload?
No, you can't do that through the bulk upload because there needs to be a file for the system to read and create the record, but you can do that manually as you have explained.
Yeah, wonderful.
There is a question here from Alison Ross. Just wanted to say, I run the offices for 3 SMOs, and HF app is the cheapest way to run the training for each. So thank you for that comment, Alison. That's very helpful. I think I've just gone through all the questions. I can't see any others that we haven't yet answered. Is that? Do you agree on that?
I'm just checking the Q&As, and Karen has asked, what's the difference between person identifier and trainee name? Person identifier relates to the user's login details, so it will need to be unique to the user. Small companies do tend to use their name. Larger companies can use their employee number or an email address or something like that. It is completely up to you what you decide, but it does need to be unique to the person. The trainee name is as the name will appear on the certificate. So that's the main difference there.
Okay. There is just one other question it's worth just doing as in the public forum. Martin has asked, he says, we work as a franchise. Can the system show each owner who works in that location and hide all other locations? I believe that we can set it up that way, can we not? We can give different manager users different views. Is that correct, Sarah?
Yes, that is right. So we have the ability to, if you like, delegate. So if there is a larger company that would like to delegate manager and administration duties down the line, you can assign particular users to site locations and or department groups, and that will narrow down what that manager can see and who that manager can see.
Yeah. So to put that in your franchise terms there, Martin, you would set up each of your franchisees effectively as what we're calling departments or sites. You just call them franchise 1, 2, and 3, and only franchise 1 would be able to, a manager from or owner of franchise 1 would be able to see their training records. There is another question here from Leslie. Good question. On the bulk upload, can you mix and match certificates from different delegates, or do they have to all be from one delegate? I can answer this one. Absolutely, you can mix and match. It does not matter who the trainee is, what the training course is. Stick them all together in a big pile, put them on your scanner, press scan, bulk upload it in one file, and the loader bot will go through and say, that's trainee 1, course 2, trainee 3, course 4, and so on. And it will identify what the training course is, its date, the trainee, and then insert. It will cross match to any trainee that's registered on the system. And as Rania demonstrated earlier, where it cannot find a cross match, either because the name is illegible perhaps on the certificate, or it's using just an initial rather than their full name, it will then flag that field up for you and go, who is this? And it will give you a list to select from. But absolutely, you can mix and match. Okay, we are just
There's only one more question that it's worth mentioning.
Okay, one more. We are just briefly over the 1 hour mark, but let's do it.
Yes, Kevin is asking if the system is GDPR compliant. So the system is GDPR compliant. On our homepage, you can find at the bottom the terms and conditions of the privacy policy. We are just the data processor. You are the data owner.
Yep, and just to add to that, we work for many large clients. We are a contracted provider to 2 of the UK's largest insurance companies, for example, AIG, as well as Zurich, and they are all regulated under the Financial Services Act because we deliver our services in as part of their package of insurance. And so we do work to very high data security standards, and we are vetted by those organisations externally. So we are not far off being equivalent to online banking, not to the same level, but we feel that given that the sensitivity of the data is relatively low, it's not financial information, it's not really sensitive personal information. Nonetheless, it has to be kept secure, and we have in place very robust measures for that. Okay, just one more then. No, I think we're all done. So I hope that has been useful today. If you are not watching live, just to reiterate, we are on hand to support you in the use of this back-end module. It can save you a tremendous amount of time and hassle. It can also significantly improve your compliance and move you towards this goal of building a competency framework. If anything is not clear from today, I think it's very important to mention that we have a very comprehensive online training and support system. Perhaps you could just very briefly share your screen again, Rania, and show us how a client would access the online support module.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, sorry, yeah, we can see your screen.
Good. All I needed to do is click on help at the bottom of the navigation tree, and it will open a pop-up of our online help pages. You have the categories here that you can click and browse around the categories, but you can also ask, let's say, how I undertake training. And if I click on that, it will give me the help page for what I have asked. You can see the steps that you need to follow and a quick GIF file detailing the steps that you need to follow.
Okay, thank you. So there is this immediate online support. If you go into the administration module, there it is at the bottom, or indeed the reporting dashboard, and there's something you're not sure of, please feel free to go to that help, type in your question. There are some dedicated buttons there to the administration module and the reporting dashboard where you'll see all the main elements. And it's got the animated GIFs there to show you step by step how to run reports, set up filters, and so on. So that is available to you immediately. If you are still struggling, Sarah is on hand to answer questions via email. And if you want to train up people in your organisation, perhaps you've got a number of them, we can also do online webinars to provide an introduction. So there it is. Hope that has been helpful. Thank you very much for attending today, and please get in touch. Please drop us an email if you've got any comments, questions. Thank you very much for attending today. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.